What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I am your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
Motivation Monday. Time to get motivated, inspired, and educated with another incredible episode. We have amazing questions, so thank you to everyone who submits them. We get asked often, hey, my question is, how do I submit a question? So the easiest way to do that is just to message us on Instagram. Me and Kyle are in our DMs quite regularly. We love connecting with our amazing community, and I think that's probably my personal favorite thing about this podcast is we started with our YouTube, Colossus Fitness, and that's how everything kind of kicked off. And when I was coming up with the name, I was actually in McDonald's beside the gym, funny enough, with some buddies who were making a channel with, and I'm like, I want just a synonym for huge. I want to get jacked. We came with Colossus Fitness, and since then, I kind of regret it because no one can spell it to this day. It's always like COLO what? And it's always a mess. And that's why I always spell it out for you over Instagram. But when we made this podcast, I'm like, I want a wider audience than just people that want to be jacked. My goals evolved, they changed. And I'm like, I want to be fit, healthy, and happy. And I love helping other people become fit, healthy, and happy. So from that, I just want to say, I mean, you're listening to this, you're already an amazing person because you're getting motivated on a Monday, and we just love connecting with you. So if you want to submit a question, if you want to just give us a compliment, we'll never be too proud to take a compliment, or you want to connect with me or Kyle personally, you can always do that on our Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusFit. And we love the questions, even if perhaps they've been answered before, if you're unsure if it's a dumb question. I feel like a teacher, but there are no dumb questions because if you're thinking it, someone else is probably thinking it. And sometimes when I get a question, I'm like, ooh, that's a good question, because just because it comes obvious to me may not mean it comes obvious to you. And me and Kyle are here to help. So that's my little spiel before we jump into the very first question of today, which is an awesome one. And that is, how can I get killer results in 90 days? I like breaking my business goals down into quarters, and I want to use the next 3 months to really dial into my goals.
So that's a fantastic question, and I really like that this one was asked for a 90-day time frame, because I find when it comes to fitness goals, sometimes, like, although I love a month, I love a week, all that stuff, and I do have goals and challenges within that time frame, 90 days is a perfect amount of time. And even just fun fact, that's actually how long our initial coaching program is, because we feel like it's the perfect amount of time to see really, really good change and let you test it out to show you guys that we're the real deal. But at the same time, if we did just a month, it's like you can only do so much in that time. And then a year, obviously it's kind of hard because that's quite a bit of time where it's just like pretty far in the distance, right? Like a lot can happen in a year, but 90 days is an amazing time. So I'm going to start off by just saying, and I always have to say this because I've failed a number of times and I've seen so many people fail within this type of goal, is just go all in, right? And I remind all of you of that because I see so many people just kind of like dipping their toe in the water and just like pretending they're going to jump in, and it might be a little bit chilly, and then they just bring their toe and whatnot right out of it. They're just like, I'm going to test it out and see how it goes. And then, they have 1 week where they're not really committed. And then you start to say, well, this isn't worth it. Like, it's not working for me and I don't have what it takes. And I see, I'd love to pull up a stat, and I'll probably do it afterwards, of just how many people fail diets and like these types of phases. And a lot of it just comes down to not wanting it bad enough, not having the right like game plan. And obviously, just like when you don't see results, you don't become addicted. We always say once you see results, you become addicted. And that's what it's all about. Like from day one, when you start eating better, you go grocery shopping, you keep track of things, like give it 100%, because week one goes by and you lose 2.5 pounds and you feel great and like your things are starting to feel better, you're going to be all in. If the first week goes by and you're just kind of like teeter-tottering, you're going to be like, what am I doing here? And so that's why I wanted to start with the biggest tip. To me, that's like what needs to be done before you start counting macros, before you start like hitting the gym. And like, obviously these things are a given, but I just see a lot of people struggle with that. But when it comes down to it, you just have to be in the right deficit, and that's what's going to see the most amount of change. And honestly, like we've had clients lose upwards of 30 pounds in 90 days. Some are quicker than others. And Ryan, who we're going to be shouting out in just a bit, he was definitely quicker. He had quite a bit to lose and he just like went all in. And so for him, it was like pretty much 25 to 30 pounds, really, really quick. My client Corwin in the past was very similar, but I'd say in that time frame, the average person can lose anywhere between 10 and 20 pounds, which is incredible just from starting to eat better and have a consistent strength training program. So within the deficit, that's like the most important thing. You need to be eating less than your body burns, and you need to keep track of it. If you're someone who says, I'm just going to eat healthier and hope that it gets better, you'll see a bit of change, but the plateaus will start to come in. You'll start to take advantage of not 100% having track and like having numbers in front of you, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I hit my calories for the day. So keep a log, keep it 100% fully like specific and dialed in. For 90 days, if you say, I'm going to track every single thing that I consume, I promise you will see some crazy changes, and that's going to be my biggest tip.
Yeah, Kyle popped off there. And with our coaching, it's actually funny. We start our accelerator program. So getting you in here to really see some amazing results and really accelerate towards your goals in that 90-day time frame. Because when we started, we explored different things. We explored monthly, and then we decided, no, people need to commit for a year. If they want to see real change, they can't expect quick, crazy transformations. And we bounced all around, and we've really found that a 90-day time frame is phenomenal. And even for goal setting, I personally really love quarters, and I'm switching to a quarter goal setting plan because you can create like little plans by month to get to that quarterly goal. A year is just so far out, and it's amazing how much your life can change in a year. And I just find it's like a little too scary. So even I think from a psychological perspective, 90 days is phenomenal because most people say, okay, I could do it for 90 days, 3 months. Like that's a good period of time, but I can do it. You say do it for a year. They're like, oh, I don't know about that. And then if we say a couple of weeks or a month, sometimes it's not like enough where we think massive change could occur. But I love Kyle's point there that a lot can happen. In 90 days, you can see crazy, crazy results. Like there's a reason we all the time we'll do like a special little test group, and we've always tweaked this to really narrow it down and get better and better with it. Tell people lose 20 pounds of fat and gain 10 pounds of muscle in just 90 days. And when you consider the visual difference that makes, it blows your mind away. And we post these transformations regularly on our page. And in this time also, you're not only able to just develop new habits, more importantly, you're able to unlearn some of the old ones, and you're able to forge a new identity. And that's what I loved about Kyle's point is, it's not just about being like, oh, I'm going to be kind of in. Instead, it's being like, I'm going to really commit to this. I'm going to make this my priority. I'm going to be all in. I'm going to really just see that this is a non-negotiable for me. And you're going to mess up too. This gives you the time to fail, to learn to navigate, to actually go through life. So we'll have clients, everything will be amazing. They'll go on vacation, they'll undo some progress despite us trying to inhibit that. And then they'll say, well, I've screwed up. And you'll say, hey, I'm your coach. I'm on your side. That's okay. We've learned. Where do you think things went wrong? How could you improve for next time? Because that's life. If you just think everything is going to be easy, the journey is going to be linear, there's going to be no setbacks, you're delusional and you're destined to fail. So that's where I find in these 90 days, you can really commit to it. And should you have a setback, you can readjust, learn, and grow and forge that new identity, like we said. But the big takeaway for us when someone comes in and we want them to see radical change, especially in this case of killer results, I assume this just falls in the bucket of losing fat and gaining muscle. In this time frame, it's really important you optimize the stool of fitness, as we always like to say. So that's really your nutrition, that's your training, and then that's your mindset and habits. So of course, naturally, we all know these things, but you need to sleep better, you need to train harder, and you need to eat better. And that is a really simplified, dumbed down version of what you need to do. And there's so many different areas that come at that. Like I said, it's reworking habits, it's eating better foods, it's actually knowing what macros you need to be eating, it's being on a program that is actually made for you to help you progress. It's also making sure that you're being pushed in that program, that you're being accountable to these goals. And that's where I love our coaching, because when you come under accountability, even one of my clients was with me and we saw crazy results. We lost like 50 plus pounds. He left for a bit. And then he's like, I just couldn't do it by myself. Like, I don't know why I need this accountability. And I said, this is no drawback to you. Like, this is everyone, right? Like, it's so much more real if like you announce something to everyone, everyone knows you're going to do it, versus if just in your head, you're like, oh, I should do this. And like, if you just fail, no one cares. Like, it's just like a whisper in the wind. No one hears it. No one thinks about it. So like that mindset shift of actually being serious about it. And oftentimes too, people will tell me, oh, I want to do all these things. And like, I want to get really fit. I want to do this. And then you say, okay, well, sign up for coaching. Like, let me take care of this for you. It's fully guaranteed. Like, no. And you can tell there's already self-doubt there. And even in the motivational video I was listening to this morning, they're talking about how I believe it was Socrates. I could be wrong. It was one of those beasts. But he took a young boy out who wanted to learn and wanted to grow and really be motivated for his knowledge. And he said, okay. And he took him out to the water and he put his head under, right? And then he held him under and then he pulled him up and he said, what did you want when you're under the water? And he's like, I just wanted air. And he's like, that's how bad you need to want your goals. And I think people will want their goals tentatively, but when it comes to it, they're like, I don't know if I actually wanted enough to sacrifice having cake, going out with my friends, whatever. But when you actually want it, you have accountability to it and you go about it intelligently, it really isn't that bad. But you need to be serious and there needs to be some form of buy-in, whether it's announcing your goals, getting a coach, having an accountability partner, having real stakes where if you don't reach your goals by the end of it, that there's some kind of reprimand, if you will. Like we always joke, like donating to a charity you don't like or giving money to a friend. So doing those things and really optimizing for that process makes it more fun. And as I always like to say too, when you see results, you get addicted.
I really like that because even on that note, I have a quote that I got from a video this morning, and basically it said, we don't get burnt out because of what we do. We get burnt out because we forget why we do it. And similar to the fitness journey, it's so easy to start the journey. And this is why we want to spend a lot of time on it, because a lot of the mindset is actually one of the most important things. But with this specific quote and example, it's easy to go by 1 or 2 weeks. You start to eat healthy, you start to make all these great decisions, and then you just essentially fall off, right? Because you forget why you started. And that's why, like, when it comes down to even this 90-day time frame, whatever goal it is that you're looking to accomplish, obviously we're here specifically talking about fitness ones, when you have that deeper why to help you during those tougher times, when there may be a week where the scale didn't go down, there may be obstacles within barbecues and trips and everything like that. This is what really holds most people back. You can eat well, you can train for a week, but it turns, when it gets to the 2-week mark, the 3-week, even months on end, it gets really challenging. And the last thing I want to mention on this topic as well is just having some sort of game plan afterwards, right? So this individual with the 90 days, I think that's incredible, an amazing time frame. But I do see a lot of people, they lose focus afterwards because they've gone all in, because they've done a lot of restrictive dieting. And even for us, like, one thing we're such a fan of is having an exit strategy after a diet, and we'll have some different focuses afterwards. So we'll reverse diet, we'll reset your metabolism, we'll help you, with your hormones. Like, we'll help you after the dieting phase to get you into a new set point and, muscle gain phase. And I've talked to so many people who they're like, oh, well, I did it. Like I got, lean and maybe lost 20 pounds or whatever. And it's like, next thing you know, they're up 25. And it's just such a common thing. So with all of this great advice, something that Josh and myself have that's super special right now, it's our discounted coaching program. And we call it the Summer Special. And this is limited to 5 awesome people who want to get killer results for summer, but also maintain those results and still progress after that for a 90-day time frame. So all you have to do is message us Summer Special to our Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusFit. This will be limited and it's not going to be a deal that's going to be lasting forever. So we can't wait to hear from you, get you your guaranteed results. And all you have to do is message us Summer Special.
Yeah, we're pumped to bring back the Summer Special. It's one of our favorite things every year, and it's an amazing opportunity to get a killer summer physique, and not just for summer, but really learn those tenets for the rest of your life. And if you've been putting it off and your results are going the wrong direction, or you're just really staying the same, this is your opportunity to challenge that. This is your opportunity to get the dream body you've always wanted, to have that confidence at the beach, to fit in your clothes, all of those amazing things. And just know it's fully guaranteed. It's your results, your money back. That's how much we stand behind what we do, because we're fully custom here. You're working one-on-one with me, Kyle, or one of our amazing coaches, and you're going to have everything broken down, fully custom to you and your journey. And we're also going to make it abundantly clear. So I'm going to give you the roadmap, explain to you everything you need to know, and hold your hand every step of the way. So there is no failing. If you're serious about results, this is your opportunity to do it. This is an incredible deal to do it as well. So don't miss out. I really want to hit on that because we only do the Summer Special for a bit because it's such a good deal. But if you want to see results, we look forward to having you in and you being our next success story. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into our quotes, and we're going to kick it off with Kyle's quote.
And my quote for today is, we won't always be at 100%, but we can always give 100% of what we have. And I really like this quote because I think of all the times where when we're not able to be perfect, like how many times people will just go right down to 0%. They'll take their foot off the gas and they'll say, well, because I can't be perfect and give 100%, I'm not going to do anything. So thinking of all those moments when you maybe be overwhelmed, work is crazy, even like injuries and setbacks and different things, like most people just completely give up. But the biggest thing and most important thing to remember here is that if you're able to give your absolute all, even if it's to a lesser degree, that's still going to be incredible progress. And that's what's going to keep you consistent instead of just going fully down to zero and saying, I'm not going to give it my best shot. So once again, we won't always be at 100%, but we can always give 100% of what we currently have.
Yeah, we talk a lot about removing that all or nothing mentality for a reason. And all too often I'll hear people say, hey, I'm on vacation, so I can't do any activity this week. Like, should I just take the week off? And I'm like, hey, you can go walk on the beach every morning. You can do some push-ups in your room. If there's a condo gym, maybe it's not going to have everything you need. Maybe you're going to work out 30 minutes of the day or 15. A lot of people will be like, I'm not going to do a 15-minute workout. That's a waste of my time. I need to do my full hour. It's like, how is that a waste of your time? It's better to do something than nothing. And I think where people get scared is it's this a component of compromise. Whereas you think, even myself, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that because I'm just going to excuse doing 15 minutes this whole week. So be realistic about what you can do, and just know also if it's a period of time and you have to take your foot off that gas a little bit, so be it. Like, you need to adapt to that period of time. But we can always look for those solutions, like Kyle said. And I think that's where this is a good quote. It's like, what am I in control of? Like, if I can't train, can I eat better? I'm always in control of what I'm putting in my mouth. Even if I'm somewhere else, people aren't feeding me. I'm not a baby, so I have full control. I can portion it. Even if it's the world's crappiest food and I can't hit my protein, I can hit my calories. I can portion it out. And most of the time you can hit your protein. But case in point, you can always find solutions. And even just think of people in prison, as crazy as it sounds. Like, people find ways to get pretty freaking jacked in there with a really set weird meal plan and very limited space and a lot of loss of control of their hours. So what I'm getting at is, no matter how extreme your situation is, there's always like positive sunlight. There's light at the end of the tunnel. There's something you can figure out. And a lot of the time life will be episodic, where there'll be periods of life, maybe you just had a baby and things are chaos for the first few weeks. Maybe training's not there, but you could order in healthy food, do preps, go on walks. Like, you need to look for what you can do in that situation, and then also say, once I'm done this, how can I get back and transition back to my normal flow? Because unfortunately, when you lose those habits, it's very hard to get back into them. So that's a killer quote. For me, for my quote, I actually had this like on my Facebook somewhere. I saw it the other day. I thought it was funny because this is a quote I've always loved. I've shared it here before, but I'm going to share it again. So it is, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. Moderation is for cowards. And you could take this a lot of different ways. And before, people have said, it's a silly quote. Like, by that logic, you're just going to overdo bad things. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying anything worth doing well. So even today, motivation video obviously gives a lot of inspiration for these because it's Motivation Monday. But Sam Sulek was mentioning how amazing it is to go all in on your fitness and how good that feels to say, like, I left nothing left. I went all in on my training, my nutrition, my study, my sleep, my recovery. And he's like, what's the worst case? No one's going to say, oh, I wish I didn't go as hard. I wish I slacked off more. I wish I had more rest. That's not it at all. We always wish we worked harder, we saw more results, or we took more risk and we went after it more. And even his point was great. He said, by the end of it, you'd say, oh, I was a fitness freak in my 20s, but you're going to carry a lot of those good habits, right? Or fitness freak in my 30s or whatever it is. So you can always build that base. So I think it's a great thing. Like, and with our goals, oftentimes we'll have shame and people will say, oh, I don't like talking about fitness too much with my family because they're not very fit and they judge me and they don't understand. And another quote I heard that I love was just that people that don't understand criticize oftentimes. So they're not going to compliment you because they don't get it. They don't understand. It's asymmetrical from their life. And even just the pressures, it's funny, even just in situations people will be in. And naturally, if you're making the right decision, people will pressure you to make the wrong decision and make you feel almost weird about it because it feels better for yourself, right? It feels better if everyone else is compromising. You're like, okay, we're all being bad. We're all going against the grain. but oftentimes you need to just lean into what you do and overdo it and commit to it, and don't let people pull that away from you. And I know a lot of people struggle with that with fitness, with being judged by their partner, their family, their workplace. People will always tease, say, oh, you're gonna get your protein, you're going to the gym, like things like that. But if you're happy with what you're doing, it's worth really sinking your teeth into it and saying, like, how far can I take this thing? Like, what am I capable of? And I think one of the best feelings ever is understanding what you're capable of. And what's funny too is once you get to that result and you really push it and you become someone who can push through that noise, that's where everyone goes, how do you do it? Then people don't begin to understand, right? So I think that's where it's also a good reminder. You need to do stuff for you. You need to be on your journey. And I think also you can be an example to those other people, right? Because they'll be like, wow, you have so much willpower. Like, how do you do that? And you can begin to have those productive discussions.
So well said. Like, I honestly think one of the biggest mistakes from most people when they try to do something is just they don't go all in. And something that we're big fans of is like, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. You know, we're going to make the best podcast. We're going to create some killer videos, and like audio is going to be awesome. And that's obviously like one side, but I see most people, they're like, oh, I want to start up this business. And then like they'll put little effort in, and then just next thing you fall off. And even obviously within the fitness journey, as I was saying, for that 90 days, it's just like, it's so rare for people to just be like, hey, I'm going to be 100% and go all in. Cause like, if you're already going to do it, it's going to take the same amount of effort to give like a little bit of effort, and then just to give 100%. Like, you're going to be putting in a bunch of work anyways. You may as well just give it your absolute all. So I think that was so well said. And I think a lot of people could learn something from this. So that was a killer quote. And the other thing, and this is just one of the thoughts that I had for today, it was just to ask yourself 3 different questions. So in a podcast that I was listening to, he said this is something he does for his business life and people around him as well. But I think you can apply this to absolutely anything. And it's 3 specific questions where you would just ask yourself at the end of the day, or whenever it is, what are we doing well? What can we do better? And what are we learning that will make us better? So I really, really like those questions just to check in with. It doesn't have to be every day, but to be able to reflect back. And I think this is so rare for people to see like what's actually working. So even if you were to sit down with yourself and be like, oh, tracking macros is going well, having a coach is going well, whatever it is that you want to realize, like, it's so often that we criticize ourselves and we only pay attention to what's not working, which you can learn something from what's not working, don't get me wrong. But in this case, obviously, what are we doing well is a great question. What can we do better? So you'll have a lot that you can learn. Of course, there's always going to be something. And then what are we learning that will make us better is another fantastic question. So just 3 things I came across that I'm going to have to journal on myself as well. And I just wanted to share with you today.
Really well said. And for my thoughts, I can't say I have too much outside of what I shared there. And I guess my biggest thought would be we only have a little bit left in the challenge here. We're actually into the last week of it, which is really cool. And I just think it's always amazing embracing challenges. I know we talked about 90 days, and there's a great opportunity too to really just say, how can I go all in for 30 days? Elevate my mindset and then carry that forward. So it's really important. You're always setting new goals, celebrating wins. Of course, I think moving goalposts without celebrating wins is never good. But the more you can just keep elevating that mindset, stacking wins and being smart, that's how you see the world's best progress. It isn't about massive leaps. It's about intelligent bumps upward and continuing to stack those. So who do we got for a client shout out this week?
So this week we actually have Ryan, and this is an updated transformation. He sent some updated photos just last week. So we felt the need to share it, especially because we really take pride in our clients who not only see change for a short amount of time, but also continue to see change. Because like I said, that is very, very rare. And there was actually studies done before of like most people who lose weight, they end up gaining it back, if not more, which is like a very high percentage, like close to 90% of people, which is wild. So for someone to come in here, and shout out to Ryan, but for him to lose, like I said, a high amount within the first 90 days, I think it was closer to 30 pounds, and then continue to see change. And now he's over 80 pounds down, and very soon he's going to be hitting over 100 pounds. And this is actually under 8 months, which is absolutely mind blowing. But Ryan was someone who was really struggling before. He had a fresh baby. He just took over a business. And he was just very, very overwhelmed. Like his entire life, he just didn't feel like he was in line with what he was capable of. And this is someone who just, has lost weight before, and he just needed to see change. And, to be able to see this amount of change in such a short amount of time and continue to progress is absolutely incredible. And we just got to give him a huge shout out. So all it takes is that one message. You message us Summer Special and say, hey, I'm ready. We will absolutely change your life. No matter how much you have to lose, if it's 10 pounds, if you want to tighten up and tone up, get you the body that you deserve. It starts with that first message and that uncomfortable message, right? Because even when he first messaged us, it was hard for him to say, hey, I'm not feeling my best. I feel horrible. I feel like I'm not doing what I'm capable of. And especially having a new kid, like he just wasn't feeling happy with everything. So message us. We will take care of you. We guarantee your results, but we're really, really happy with this transformation.
Yeah, big shout out to Ryan. I remember when I had his first message, I saw him in the DMs and he just said, I got all these nice clothes. I want them to fit nice. I got my family. I just want to feel my best. And it's been amazing just seeing him attack that and forge this new identity. And we shared him previously and we're sharing him again because like I said, he crushed the goal and he's continuing to move forward. And that's ultimately what it's all about. And just seeing his mindset, his expertise, his attitude evolve has just been absolutely amazing. That's ultimately what it's all about. So huge shout out to Ryan. We're going to jump back into our mailbag now for our second question. And this is one we get asked often, and that is, what are the best fat loss supplements? So most often when people want to lose fat, they'll naturally start to say, okay, what's like a good fat burner, a good fat loss supplement? This definitely used to be more prevalent than it is now, which I'm really happy to report. I've definitely gotten this question a lot less, but in general, it sounds amazing, right? You take a pill, you lose fat, you're good to go, hydroxycut, something like that back in the day. The reality is there just isn't really any that work that aren't like a steroid or with ridiculous amounts of side effects. So even hydroxycut was actually a really effective diuretic back in the day, but there was such an expense to it that it actually got banned, right? Like the true hydroxycut got banned, and it's something I would have never even been interested in touching myself. And that's because it's really horrible for your liver. You're talking about like an extreme diuretic. You're most often too, you'll just get thermogenics through the effect of like just basic like peppers and caffeine and just a bunch of weird things in there that are supposed to help amplify the fat burning process, but most often it's just a diuretic and it's just going to kind of drain you out, and it actually isn't going to produce the results you want. And I tell this to everyone, I'm like, if you want to lose fat, you need to be in a deficit. Like your body has to do it. That truthfully is the best way to get that done. And even if you were able to take a magical steroid, or I guess even now that new one, what's it called? Ozempic. There's a cost to that, because you take this Ozempic, let's say, and we get asked about this often too, and my appetite gets suppressed. Fantastic. It's going to work. It's putting me in a deficit. It's doing what I said we needed to do. So far, it looks safe. It's cleared, whatever. We don't know enough about it per se, but you would say, okay, why can't I do that? My hesitation there would be is you're doing a short-term solution for a long-term problem. Like if this only works when you're on it, you're either committing to be on it for the rest of your life, or you're committing to being like, I'm going to figure it out when I'm leaner. But that's just not the way it's going to work, because you're going to stop taking it. You're going to end up more hungry, and you're going to reset this whole process. You're going to gain all the weight back. And you're going to be like, oh, shoot, I got to go do this again. So that's where I'm very against it. And then even more intense steroids like Tren or Clen or whatever it may be, with those, it's the same principle, right? You're speeding up your metabolism rapidly at the expense of your health, and it's only going to work while you're doing that thing. And then even there's like other things too, like ephedrine caffeine stacks that you can explore, of course, and that's also going to boost your metabolism. Once again, the drawback there is you're having a ton of caffeine, you're pretty worked up, right? Like, and it's harsh once again on your liver. And the expense of that, once again, is it's going to work effectively when you take it, but you're putting yourself in this world, in this cycle of like, oh, I'm going to do a short-term solution. And most people, like, it's amazing to me how easy it is to help people lose fat. Like when someone comes to my program, they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't lost 5 pounds in the last 5 years. I lost in 1 week here. Like, how did you do this? And it's just really locking into a goal, making some changes, evolving to a new identity, eating a reasonable amount of calories, and doing it intelligently, because I think people struggle with dieting because they'll say, okay, I'm all of a sudden going to eat perfectly clean. I'm going to have these tiny portions. We always joke too, it's always like generally bigger people, unfortunately, when they go out, that will eat the least, like in some performative show. And it's bad to say, but it's like, okay, yeah, maybe you had a salad and a chicken breast with sauce on the side, but what did you have later? What did you have last weekend? Like, it's the patterns and the themes that matter more than anything else. And I think that's where people are surprised at how much we eat or how much flexibility we have. But that's where supplements are the wrong question, because they're supplemental to a good diet, a good training regimen, and just a balanced, healthy living. And that's where when you actually optimize for these things, like it doesn't need to be that hard. And it's really not that hard at all. If you're active, you're training hard, you eat really good, high quality foods, you'll be pretty satiated. Even in a slight deficit, you'll notice fat will come off quite naturally. Of course, if you want to get to ridiculous level of leanness, that is where it gets a lot more technical and a lot more hard. But I think the physique most people want, which is just to look good on the beach, is like, you actually don't need to put that much effort into it, is what's hilarious. You may have to put an effort to get back to a level you're at, because maybe you hold a lot of extra fat, you don't have a good level of fitness. But in general, it really isn't that rocket sciencey. And that's why even with our coaching for this 90-day shred, we have a full guarantee, right? As long as you commit to us, we promise to commit to you and get you your results, because we've done this for everyone in every situation. Students, we've done it for mothers of 5, we've done this for new fathers, we've done this for busy professionals, celebrities, like everything you can imagine. You'll think you have some unicorn excuse that makes it where it doesn't work for you. That's not the reality at all. And it's the tenets and the simplicity, the basics that work. It's these sexy things like, oh, take this pill, do this, that aren't actually going to fix your problem. And if they do, oftentimes it's temporary, becomes cyclical. You lose it, you stop doing that thing, you gain it back. Like, once again, look for long-term solutions for long-term problems, not just short-term solutions.
Yeah, and you just need to have the right effort, right? So Josh said it doesn't take a lot, and the truth is it doesn't. It's just so many people overcomplicate it, where they're putting in a lot of work, and it seems like it because they're buying the latest supplements. Their bills are always high from going to the supplement store and trying to get stuff and joining the latest fad class that they think is going to help them, or whatever the case is. And it's like, it feels like a lot because you're constantly chasing that like next important thing. And even an experiment for you, like on the topic of fat loss supplements, there's, if I were to just say, give you a certain amount of calories that's over the amount that you typically should be having to lose weight, like let's say around 2,500 calories is where you maintain weight, and I start feeding you 2,800 calories, but give you every supplement such as creatine, protein, pre-workout, all the pills, all that stuff, you will not lose weight. And why is that? It's because you're eating more than your body should be consuming, and you're not in a calorie deficit. So I think supplements can be great when you're, especially like the couple that I find fantastic would be creatine 100%, and then protein if your protein's low. But at the same time, it's not going to outdo a bad diet. It's not going to outdo you eating more than you should be burning. And this experiment is so true. Like, it's just when you actually take a look at it, it won't really help you unless you get your nutrition down, unless you're properly strength training and focusing on the external things. So I just want to share that with you, and I really like Josh's answer on this question.
Yeah, and it's hard to really give you any tangibles. Like, ultimately, eating more protein will sate you more. Having more vegetables, more fiber will also help you feel more full. And like, those are ultimately the big thing. I find it's hunger that really messes people up. Identifying hunger signaling, like when you're bored at night, and really removing that, removing bad habits too. Like, if you know every Friday you order in food when you shouldn't, like, delete that app, go do something with a friend at that time, brush your teeth, whatever, and start to rework those habits. Like, there just is no supplement I can recommend that's going to fix any of this for you. And even the attitude of these short-term solutions, like, you'll probably, unfortunately, if you're just looking for short-term solutions, you'll probably never have a great physique. Like, you really need to do the work and create that change, and just do it one step at a time. But that's really all it takes. So now we're going to go to our third and last question, and that's, hey, is it too late to get in shape for summer?
So absolutely not. I really do believe there's, not plenty of time, but there is definitely time to make some incredible change happen. And I know we said 90 days is the perfect time frame to see some crazy results, and that really is true. But even just 1 month, right? We're about 1 month out from summer when you're listening to this, and you can do some incredible things also within 30 days. And the biggest thing from that is also the habits that you can create. They say, I think it takes around 21 to 30 days. It always changes to form a habit, but to be able to get, let's say lose 10 pounds within the first month, which is totally doable. And then what's going to be really important is what you do after that, right? Because let's just say summer, a month from now, you build some great habits, you lose 10 pounds, you keep up with the great eating and all that great stuff. You can do some great things through summer to bring you to that 90-day time frame and lose anywhere between 15 and 30 pounds, depending on how much you have to lose. So a lot of it will be that first month or so to get started to build the habits, and then what happens afterwards is going to be the most important, because even myself, I plan on just leaning down for the next month, and then potentially maintaining, because I've been dieting for a little bit now, quite a few weeks. So we'll have to see where that goes. But yeah, the main thing is that it's definitely not too late. And then we'd love to help you get there. Like that's my big takeaway, is just like having the right game plan will speed it up, because so many people will try, not see the results, and then 6 months goes by, you get negative results, and it's like you wonder why it's not working. Whereas you let us take care of it, give us 3 months. The first month we see crazy change, and you'll be in a completely different spot. So that's my answer for that question.
It's never too late to do anything, and maybe it's too late if your goal is like to lose 10 pounds by tomorrow. But regardless, wouldn't you rather get started on that goal and even achieve it late than not achieve it at all? One of the worst things you can do is have some perfect imaginary day in your mind. And the second people say that to me, they're like, oh, I want to start in 3 weeks. And like me and Kyle know, because we've done this now 10 plus years, we're like, 3 weeks, something's going to come up. Sure enough, 3 weeks comes. It's, oh, maybe it's not the best. Maybe after summer. And like right away, you failed, as I said. Like if you want change, like it needs to be now. There can't be, oh, tomorrow. There can't be whatever. There's a reason we always say the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now. And that's because it's your health, it's your fitness, and you need to learn to navigate. And that's why all the time people will come at me and say, okay, once this is done in a few weeks, and I'll say, no, you want to learn to work through that. Even if it's like the most major, insane event, like even if you can navigate that and do 40% better, to Kyle's all or nothing talk, like that's going to really help spring vault you forward. That's going to have you create attitude being like, oh, wow, I can do better in these situations. And if you're doing 40% better, these situations like 10 times a year for the rest of your life, like that's significant, right? That could be like 10, 20 pounds that you could put on. And very often when people put on the weight, they have a really hard time getting it off. And a lot of it is just these habitual and psychology changes. And these are naturally things we work with one-on-one, and it's just easier. Like I love analogies, I'd love to give a million, but it's just I'm going to give very different advice to the mother of 5 than I am like the student who's in school. Like you have different problems, you still have problems, you always have problems, but everyone has different problems at different scales, different intensities, with different solutions. But you need to work with the cards you're dealt. So let us help you. Let us take all that hard work out, give the exact clear instructions you need for your success, so you can have a body you're proud of, a body that drops jaws on the beach, and that just you feel like you have limitless energy. So don't miss out on the summer special. This is big. This is exciting. And I can't wait to get you the results you deserve. Message me on Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusFit. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.